Every business has a rule book, rules for safety, for quality, for compliance, and let's be honest, most of us see them as a total drag. But what if one of those boring rule books held the secret, not just to surviving, but to a complete game-changing transformation? Well, that's exactly the story we're diving into today. We're all kind of trained to think of standards and regulations as restrictions, right? Just a bunch of red tape that gets in the way of doing the real work. But what if that's the wrong way to look at it? What if, buried inside all those rules, there's actually a roadmap to reinventing your entire business? All right, so let's set the scene. Meet GreenLeaf Industries and its owner, a man named Mr. Sharma. For years, his company, which makes home cleaning products, was pretty much the definition of success. Things were going great. I mean, for a solid decade, GreenLeaf had it made. Their operation was smooth, sales were steady, their customer base was loyal. You could say they were comfortable. Maybe a little too comfortable. And then, almost overnight, it felt like the floor dropped out from under them. Their crucial international orders, he just vanished. Poof. The phone stopped ringing, and that main revenue stream was suddenly drying up, fast. And it wasn't just one problem piling on. As GreenLeaf's global business was collapsing, their own community was starting to turn on them. Complaints about pollution coming from their factory were getting louder and louder. So Mr. Sharma was fighting a battle on two fronts, one from the outside and one right in his own backyard. So, facing this massive crisis, Mr. Sharma started looking for a lifeline, for anything that could help, and he found it in a pretty unexpected place, the International Organization for Standardization, or as most of us know it, ISO. This framework was about to become the key to GreenLeaf's survival. So what is ISO, really? Well, it's an independent, global organization that creates standards. Think of these standards as a shared agreement on the absolute best way to do something, whether that's making a product, managing a process, or delivering a service. And this is such a powerful way to think about it. ISO isn't some faceless bureaucracy. It's more like a universal translator. It allows a business in one country to communicate trust and quality to a customer in another, using a language they both understand. It gets everyone on the same page. Okay, so where did GreenLeaf even begin? Well, they decided to tackle the most immediate visible problem head-on, the pollution. And they turned to a very specific standard to guide them, ISO 14001. This standard is basically the playbook for creating an effective environmental management system. It doesn't just say, hey, be more green. It gives you a step-by-step process to actually reduce your environmental footprint. And, just as importantly, to prove you're doing it. And this wasn't just theory for them. It became a concrete action plan. First, they started treating all of their industrial wastewater, hitting the pollution right at the source. Next, they completely overhauled their packaging, switching to eco-friendly materials. And finally, they installed solar panels to slash their energy consumption. These were real, tangible changes. And the results? They were immediate and they were powerful. The local complaints stopped because, well, the pollution problem was solved. But then something amazing happened. Their new, eco-labeled products started attracting a whole new type of customer, people who really cared about the environment. They turned their biggest weakness into a brand new strength. This first success was a total revelation for Mr. Sharma. He realized that fixing their process wasn't just about the environment. It was about being responsible. It was time to focus on people, which led GreenLeaf to its next guide, ISO 26000. So, ISO 26000 is all about social responsibility. It's a framework that helps an organization understand its impact on society and gives them a plan to operate in an ethical, transparent way that actually contributes to the health and welfare of the whole community. Now, there's a really key difference here. Unlike the environmental standard, ISO 26000 isn't something you get a shiny certificate for. You can't just pass the test. Instead, it's a set of guiding principles, a philosophy that you're meant to weave into the very fabric of your business. So what did this actually look like for GreenLeaf? It meant real change. It meant implementing equal pay and making sure working conditions were safe. It meant running health camps for the local community and making it a priority to hire local people. And it meant demanding transparency from their own suppliers. In short, they didn't just talk the talk, they started walking the walk. So let's look at the result of this whole journey. What started as a desperate scramble to fix a broken process ended up fundamentally transforming the company's entire reason for being It's purpose. When you really boil it all down, it's a pretty simple formula. ISO provided that universal language of trust. ISO 14001 gave GreenLeaf the tools to care for the planet, and ISO 26000 gave them the framework to care for people. It was a complete overhaul of their company values, from the ground up. And this quote from Mr. Sharma, it just says it all, doesn't it? The journey wasn't about ticking boxes on some compliance checklist. It was a fundamental shift from just making products to making a positive impact. And that's what reopened their international markets and ultimately made them stronger than they ever were before. The story of GreenLeaf really proves that improving your process isn't just about being more efficient or making more money. It can unlock something so much deeper. And that brings the final question back to you. What hidden purpose in your own work is just waiting to be discovered inside a better process?